Today we are going to talk about the GigaSync. I would like to start to say thanks to you, to Joshua and all Streakwave team, and also to all the marketing team from 9dot and Streakwave. So today the agenda is this that you can see. We're gonna have a short introduction about who we are, the speakers, and then the company profile. And so we're gonna go to the protagonist of this webinar, the GigaSync. We're gonna see configuration, feature, and so on. And then we're gonna see the live demo where Lisandro is going to show in real time from Italy how the GigaSync is working. And in the end, we're gonna see the roadmap of the hardware and software then in 2022 are going to be released. And in the end, as Angela said, we are going to answer to all of your questions. So this is me. I'm Luigi Carlini, electronic engineer with more than 7 years in telecommunication business across several countries like Italy, UK, Qatar, and Myanmar. And now I'm working for 9dot as a global sales director. I really like to work in 9dot for the flexibility and the opportunity that give us to all the employees, and it's a great working environment that help everybody to grow and achieve the targets of everybody.
So, hello everyone, I'm Lisandro Cubero. I'm also an electronic engineer. I came from Argentina, where I had worked for 6 years as a project manager. This is my first experience here in Italy, and I'm very happy to be part of a growing company whose vision points to think of different solutions to those that are present in the market. I'm working as a project management here. So, yes, can we continue?
Okay, Lisandro, so let's talk about 9dot first. 9dot is a startup from 2016, so 5 years, but with more than 10 years of experience in the telecommunication industry. We provide innovative power solution, and the company name comes from the game of the 9 dots, as you can see above, and where you have to connect these red dots each other with only 4 lines. So the solution of this game only could be solved with thinking outside the box. That is our motto and our vision and what we are believing. So making our technologies, looking forward the future, providing smart solution and to make the life easier. Let's go directly to the protagonist of this webinar, our sync injector GigaSync. As we said, this presentation is going to focus to technical and live demonstration. And I would like to give the word to Lisandro that is going to explain you every feature of this amazing device.
Okay, thank you so much, Luigi. So let's start with our GigaSync. GigaSync, well, we are showing you a nice picture of our GigaSync with 3 cartridges. GigaSync provides a power source for power over Ethernet devices or directly by bipolar terminals by different cartridges, as you can see in the picture. It consists in 1 unit rack that can host up to 3 expansion cartridges, and also provides Wi-Fi connection, remote management, and support Cambium and Canopy synchronization methods. And also we have the possibility, the unit base has 2 processors. One of them is in charge of managing the front end, like the web interface, and the other one is in charge of the monitoring and managing the hardware. So we are now we are going to speak very quickly some details of a terminal cartridge. The terminal cartridge has two connectors, two bipolar connectors to power, four bipolar connectors, sorry, to power and protect the devices. This kind of cartridge is very useful to supply power to optical fiber devices. We have status monitoring through the web interface to troubleshoot and to control the connected devices, monitoring the main variables, for example, voltage, amps, and temperature. Every port is protected against short circuit, over voltage. We have a double phase protections in each port. GDT and TBS are the electronic protections. These two technologies combined offer us very interesting protections against over voltages. And each port can handle up to 3 amps. That means 150 watts. That is a lot of power. In this version, that means 6 amps per cartridge. The next slide is the PoE cartridge. Also, we have 4 gigabit ports. They are isolated and compatible with every kind of PoE devices through the GigaKey. The GigaKey defines the pinout. As you can see, there are 2 slots on the side, on the right side, and 2 slots on the left to introduce the GigaKey that will map the PoE port. Every port, again, is protected against short circuits and over voltage with double phase, and is suitable with to reach up to 3 amps as typical load, and also we give us the possibility to synchronize Cambium devices with the method of Canopy and Cambium Sync, okay? And also we have the monitoring status to monitoring the main variables as amps or current, voltage, and temperature.
Thank you, Lisandro. So let's summarize a little bit, and let me ask you. So why you should choose the GigaSync?
Well, we have a lot of features. Protection is one of the most complete feature for me. I think GigaSync is one of the most complete devices on the market of its kind. We have double phase protection, short circuit protection, galvanic isolation between LAN and PoE. That, for example, some PoE switches on the market doesn't have. Also, flexibility is one of the features I like the most. I think here is present the motto of 9.0 because we are very different to those devices that are on the market. We have we are able to power different kind of devices. For example, you can supply 24 to the first cartridge, 48 for the second one, and 54 for the last cartridge. There is no problem for the GigaSync, even if you need to supply with negative voltage, because we have a floating ground. Another feature is the modularity. You can have in a same base unit 4 ports or 8 ports or even 12 ports, and you don't need to buy another base unit. All right. Also, the cartridges are hot swappable. That means that you can introduce or release every cartridge in hot, and well, the infrastructure can be expanded in the future. All this feature is related to the space, no? Because when you need to have more port available, you just need to add a new cartridge. Sometimes different voltages means different PoE injectors, but not in this case. It's all in one rack unit. And management. allows full remote management through the operating system, performing all the interfacing functions with the user via the web interface. As I'm sure that you know, this feature saves time and reduces costs since people don't have to travel to the site. And the last but not least, power, of course. As far as we know of its type, is the most powerful device on the market. We are talking about 150 watts per port. It is a lot of power.
That's great. Thank you, Lisandro. And so let's make some comparison with our competitors. And I'd like to start with what we and our competitors have both. So like Canopy and Cambium Sync, GPS redundancy, no PoE output ports, or short circuit protection and management. These, let me say, are the features that everybody has, so also our GigaSync. But I would like to go to the feature that we are glad and very we want to highlight most, and are this. The max output power that we can provide is up to 1,800 watts, and the competitors reach only up to 1,200. And the port, as Lisandro said before, can reach up to 150 watts compared to the competitors and up to 90 watts. And then all of these features like a surge protection, hot swap, or floating around, as Lisandro said also, the floating around is very important. So our GigaSync can provide a minus 48 and 48 volts in two different cartridges that no one else in the market have this feature that can do that. Then galvanic isolation, GigaKey, integrated Wi-Fi or base unit independent power or base unit PoE supply. We have all of this feature and nobody in the market have. And I think this is what make our product out of the box and a bit different from the others. And for sure the customer are going to like this feature, and that's why you are pushing to do this marketing and webinar to show the power of our device. So finally, we are going to jump to in some configuration that is also a more interesting part, I think, to you all. And please, Lisandro, take the word and show us some of this configuration.
Okay, let me show you my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Luigi. On the next slide, we are going to show you some typical configurations from some common sites. We just took 3 examples to show you how to make a BOM, a bill of material, starting from the equipment, from the radios or the microwave equipment. We have chosen Mimosa, Ubiquiti, and Cambium, and we are going to finish with the list, with the bill of materials. Okay. Let me to tell you before start with the configuration that these are examples, but are not the only devices brands that we can power by GigaSync. You can also supply Ceragon, MikroTik, CI, SAF. In general, all the equipment that the power consumption is under 150 watts, okay? And the current absorption is less than 3 amps per port. So that means every kind of radios present on the market, okay? So now let's not losing time in words, and let's go to the example so you can understand better. One of the most important thing in order to make a configuration with GigaSync is how to choose the GigaKey. NIDOT has introduced the GigaKey just to simplify the selection of the pinout of the PoE ports. Other PoE injectors use jumpers that you have to install manually, for example, or maybe opening the device. So as you can understand, it's not at all user-friendly and fast as GigaKey. So it's very important that you can understand the simplicity of our solution, of our GigaKey. So now, the first thing that we need to take into account is to check the power method compliant or pinout or PoE pinout of the devices that you need to connect to the GigaSync. You can find this information in the data sheets or maybe in the user manuals, and the information may appear as follows. Okay, you can find this kind of information. 1000 base TPoE, or maybe 802.3 AF and AT, that is a standard PoE. 1000 base TPoE. All of these standards or methods has its own pinout. Okay. Another kind of devices can present the pinout as you are seeing on the presentation. Pin 4 and 5 the negative, and pin 7 and 8 the positive, or even another kind of pinout. No. Also, we have Cambium Sync devices that we know that always you need the well GigaKey, as we are going to explain you. The second important thing is to choose the correct GigaKey from our manual. So first, check the device's manual, and after that, check our GigaSync manual in order to know which are the GigaKey. Okay, this information is very easy to find in our manual. Remember that always when we are talking about Cambium devices and we will need synchronization, the GigaKey, the correct GigaKey will be the white one. Okay, now I'm going to explain what I mean with real examples. I'm giving you all the instructions that you have to follow. Okay. So let me to show you one example with Mimosa. In this case, we have a Mimosa A5C. This is the information that you can find on the technical documentation, data sheet or user manuals. Okay, and it's important to pay attention to the voltage, just to be sure connecting the correct power supply. This device has a range from 48 volts to 56, and we have chosen 48 volts to supply power to this device. And the PoE compliant is 802.3 AT. So as we mentioned, this standard has the same pinout as the GigaKey Blue. Okay. So let me to show you some example about Mimosa. The first question that I'm sure you are having is, see if can GigaSync power this device, and let me to tell you that you need to be very relaxed about this, because we are talking about 30 watts, or even in this case we are talking about 25 watts. It's yes, we are with our GigaSync, we can supply at 150 watts, so there is no problem for this information. And here again we have the same case. So we have chosen 48 volts to supply power to this device, and again the power compliant is with the GigaKey Blue. Okay, let me to show you how to connect these devices. So in this slide, I'm going to show you the back part of the GigaSync, so to understand how to connect the power supply, and the front part to understand how to connect the devices. Okay. as we are seeing, we will need two cartridges because we are talking about 6 devices. But remember that this is just one example, okay? So the first cartridge, the number 1, we have chosen the 48 volts to supply power. This is this cartridge to supply power to the Mimosa A5C, and you need 1 GigaKey blue for every PoE port, and it's the same case to the cartridge number 3 to supply power to the Mimosa B11. Also, we need the GigaKey blue. Okay. In this case, we choose the possibility to supply power redundantly, and here no, but in any case you can do whatever you want. Okay. And well, another thing is that here you have the GPS external connection, but in this case we are not connecting the GPS because we don't need the synchronization pulse. And here are present the sync-in and sync-out port to acquire and to replicate the synchronization pulse. This is the port management to be able to remote management the device. Okay, I did this to make a simple example, to keep it tidy and to don't mix different equipment, but you can connect different devices into the same cartridge with different or not GigaKeys. So for example, here, 1 Mimosa, 1 Ubiquiti, 1 Cambium, 1 Ceylon. The only thing that you need to take into account is take care about the voltage requirement, okay?
All right, so guys, as we said, to make this configuration, we really need a few part number from 9.0. So we were considering 6 radio from Mimosa, so 4 A5C and 2 B11. And to complete the power supply, you just need 1 GigaSync base V2, and then you need 2 cartridges, PoE, of course, and 6 GigaKeys. 6 because it's one of every Mimosa device, and this Mimosa or can be Cambium or can be Ubiquiti, whatever. So again, every device that you want to connect need also a GigaKey to make the correct pinout. Then it's optional also a standalone AC/DC. In this case, the 48 volts, and depends. If you have in your cabinet, you can use your external third-party power supply, or otherwise you can just buy or having this AC/DC 48 volts. Very, very simple.
Thank you, Luigi. So let me to show you another example. In this case, with Ubiquiti, here the information on the data sheet. This device support 24 volts. So here we have a bit different scenario, but there is no problem for GigaSync. Remember that you can power the cartridge with 24 volts, and the pinout is a bit different that in the case of Mimosa. So as you can remember on the previous slide, if you have 4, 5 positive and 7 and 8 negative, we will need to use the GigaKey green or black. Okay, this is the correct GigaKey. And other example with other kind of Ubiquiti is the AF11. This information again is present on the data sheet. The power method compliant is this in have the shape of the pinout 1, 2, 4, and 5 the positive, and 7, 8, 3, and 6 the negative. Okay, the power input is in this case can be 48 volts, and this pinout matches with the GigaKey blue. Okay, this is very easy to choose the GigaKey. So now let me to show you how would be the correct connections. Again, the difference in this slide is that the first cartridge will be powered by 24 volts, the second one by 48, sorry. And here we have the 3 Ubiquiti and the 2 AF11. Both cartridges are PoE without Cambium synchronization because we are talking about Ubiquiti brand. So the bill of materials will be this one.
Yeah, again, let's summarize and to understand the equipment that you need from 9.2 to power these Ubiquiti devices. So you just need the one base unit. Then, as Lisandro said, the 2 cartridges PoE without synchronization because Ubiquiti don't have the Cambium synchronization, of course. And then 5 GigaKeys, 3 gray and 2 blue, because the equipments Ubiquiti have different pinouts. And again, optional, you can order also a standalone ACDC 48 volt and one ACDC 24 volts, because we've seen before that they work with different voltage.
Thank you very much, Lucy. We are going to move to the last example with Cambium network devices. The first is the Cambium Medusa working at 5 GHz. Also, we can find this information on the datasheet. The input voltage is between 42 and 59, so we can supply power at 48 volts. And as we are talking about the Cambium device and we will need Cambium synchronization, we need to choose the white GigaKey. But let's consider the worst case scenario for this device. I'm talking about a device that the power consumption is 110 watts. At 48 volts, we are talking about 2.3 amps, okay? But don't worry because the GigaSync still can work at this current, okay? The last example is a PTP 820C working at 11 GHz. We can provide power at -48 volts or even 24. That is the worst case. This Cambium device, as we check it on the datasheet, don't need synchronization pools, don't need Cambium synchronization. So in this case, the GigaKey would be the blue one, okay? But let's consider again the worst scenario. If we have a device working at 65 watts and 24 volts, the current consumption would be 2.7 amps. Even here, we are under the 3 amps of the GigaSync. So the connections are here on the slide. The main difference, as you can notice, is the external GPS, as we are talking about Cambium network devices, and we will need synchronization to the Medusa equipment, okay? So for that, we have chosen the first cartridge as PoE CS, that means Cambium synchronization, and the third, just PoE cartridge, okay?
Okay, and so to summarize also this case with the Cambium network devices, this is the BOM. As you can see, again, we have only one unit base, then we have one cartridge with synchronization, then we have 2 white GigaKeys for the Medusa, because they have the synchronization, and then we have one cartridge without the synchronization for the Cambium PTP 820C, 2 GigaKeys blue, and then, as Lisandro said, also one GPS antenna and the cable. Also for this case, it's optional that you can also order a standalone SADC 48 volts and also a standalone SADC 24 volts, because we saw before that they are working this Cambium Medusa and the Cambium PTP 820 with a different voltage. So finally, we are going to see the live demo, and it's going to be very interesting, I think, for all of you, and actually also for all of us. That is something that we never did before. Let me try to share now the webcam, and so you can see the GigaSync. Lisandro, please.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. The first thing that I want to mention is that you can make bigger the webcam screen in order to see the details on your screen. Right now we are going to see some examples with a rack that we have here in Italy. We are going to show you the configuration or the connections in the presentation, and simultaneously we are going to show you different webcams in order to show you how it works. Okay, so before starting, let me to introduce some things of the GigaSync. Okay, here we have the two GigaSync. Okay, well, this is the unit base. As you can see, we have different LEDs on the front. We call this physical interface, because the different color of the LED can you tell us something. For example, this port is ready, is active, and this port here there are not present the GigaKey. On this case, for example, that means that we have the synchronization pools. We are acquiring the synchronization pools. For example, as we mentioned, the hot swap feature is very easy to release the module or the cartridge and to introduce inside the GigaSync. After a few seconds, the recognition will be automatically, as you can see here. Let me to show you the side of the cartridges. Here you have the slot to introduce the GigaKey. It's very easy to release the GigaKey. You can help us with the screwdriver, and this is the GigaKey. It's very easy to introduce it. And another kind of another kind of feature that I can show you is, for example, that in the top part of the cartridges we have the LAN or the network ports, and here on the bottom part there are present the PoE ports. Okay. Let me to show you the first configuration, but before I want to show you the other camera. Okay, these are the devices that we are going to connect. I'm sure that you know the PMP 450 from Cambium Network, PMP 3000. Also, we have the Ceragon IP 20C and a MikroTik. This is a device of Internet of Things. Okay, we are going to connect each one step by step in order to show you how it works with GigaSync. So now, this is the first configuration that I want to show you. As you can see, we have connected the external GPS antenna because the first two devices are Cambium devices, so we will need Cambium synchronization. On the back part, we have connected also the different power supply. In the cartridge number 3, we connected redundant power supply at 24 volts. In the second cartridge, 48 volts, also redundant, and the first one, 48 volts again, but only in one of the bipolar terminals. We are supplying power to the base unit at 48 volts, but you can choose another kind of voltage. And obviously we are connected to the port management in order to show you the web interface on the next slides. As we have 450 devices and we will need synchronization, the core GigaKey is the white one, okay? So now we are going to connect the network and the PoE cable, that is this yellow wire. You are going to see here on the first device that the device is turned on, okay? So we are supplying the PMP 450. After a few seconds, we can realize that this device is taking the synchronization pulse. But let me to show you something more on the web interface. Here we are connected to the GigaSync. As we can see on the synchronization window, on the info window, we have a GPS connected. Are the coordinates, and we are seeing in that moment 8 SAS. Just to show you that we are providing the synchronization pulse. Okay. Here we are providing Cambium Sync at the first port at the Cambium PMP 450. So let me to show you the web interface of this device. Okay, here we are connected to this device, and the synchronization is by the Cambium Sync method. But let me to show you one more thing. What happens if we change the method of synchronization of this device? We can choose Canopy, for example, because this device can support Canopy also. After a few seconds, we can realize that the method of synchronization changed, okay? And we are going to see on the web interface that after a few seconds, this will change to Canopy Sync. You can, yeah, here we have Canopy synchronization. So it was very, very easy to change the two method of synchronization, okay? Now we are going to see another example with other Cambium device. In this case, we have the ePMP 3000. Okay, the same case is very similar because it's a Cambium device and we will need the GigaKey white. So let me to show you the connections. Again, first of all, we connect to the port number 4, the network, and after that, the PoE. So we are going to see that here the power is not active, and that is because on the web interface I didn't turn on the port, but it's very easy to turn it off, to turn it on, sorry. So now we are going to see that this device is going to turn on, okay? But let me to show you that right now we didn't choose at this moment we don't choose the synchronization method, and we have introduced the GigaKey white. So we can choose the Cambium Sync, but first I want to show you the web interface of the device, okay? Now I'm connecting to the ePMP 3000 in order to show you how to acquire the synchronization pulse. we need to log in, to make the login. And we are seeing here that the synchronization sync is down. That means that it's not acquired the synchronization pulse. So if we choose on our web interface the canopy, the Cambium synchronization mode, after a few seconds, we can notice that the device will change the status to sync up. Okay, let me give you some seconds. Okay, here we have the sync up. That means that this device has acquired the synchronization pulse. So now the first example is the Ceragon. Okay, the Ceragon IP20C. But first, to connect this device, I need to show some interesting feature that we have in every port of GigaSync. We have a protection, a short circuit protection, okay, as we mentioned. So we are going to show you a short circuit on this port. Here we have the positive and the negative cables. Can you see it? Okay. Now the PoE port is active, as you can see the green LED. But after the short circuit, it changed to red color. Okay. After a few seconds, 10 seconds, the port will try again. And if the short circuit is not still present, the GigaSync will provide power to the port. Again, if I make a short circuit, this short circuit cannot pass into the GigaSync because the protection, okay? So after a few seconds, we'll try again, and if the short circuit is not present, we'll provide power to the port. So now we are going to provide power in order to supply 48 volts to the Ceragon. Okay, we can connect also the network, the power, and we are going to see on the web camera that the Ceragon is going to turn on. Perfect. So after the short circuit, we show you that the port is still working perfectly. Okay. Now let me just show you the last example, just to explain you how works the third cartridge. Just to show you how it works, I have connected a MikroTik LoRa 8. It's an Internet of Things device that is connected to 24 volts. And now it's very simple. The only thing that we need to do is to connect the positive and the negative, as the polarity indicates, and that's all. We can provide power to non-PoE devices through this terminal cartridge. Okay. Also, this terminal cartridge can work in a range of voltage from 24 to 56 volts. So, to conclude, we are supplying power to different devices, different brands, Cambium Networks, Ceragon, MikroTik, different devices, different GigaKeys, different cartridges, no? Because we have PoE Cambium synchronization, we have PoE, and we have third cartridges, okay? This is only to demonstrate the versatility and the modularity that GigaSync can provide us. The last thing I want to show you is that in some cases you can have in your facilities maybe one UGPS or CN Pulse or CN5 from Cambium, or even a GigaSync. Okay, so in this case, you will not need to install another external GPS because you have just to connect an RJ12 cable to the sync input port, and voila, we can acquire the synchronization pulse through this cable. It's very easy to achieve this. So that's all the demonstration, the live demonstration.
Thank you, Lisandro, for this deep explanation of our device, all the cartridges, the GigaKeys, and so on. I think it has been very important for everybody to understand better the device, about how to connect to our devices, how to understand the method of the pinout, and so on. So now I would like to move to the roadmap for 2020-22, and it's very exciting for us because we're going to have a new feature and new materials that we are going to release. Starting from the new GigaSync base V3 that is going to power up to 12 amps for cartridge instead of 6 amps as we said for the V2. We're going to have a new web interface with more feature and more user-friendly too also. And in the end, we're going to have a new cartridge called TerCS that is a terminal connector, but with Cambium synchronization. This is a cartridge that is also approved by EOLO in Italy, and is going to be used for all the CN Wave 28. All of these features are going to be released, and the materials are going to be released in the end of Q1 2022. So I'm really happy to see what is going on in the near future and to see how we are going to hit the market. So we finish our presentation, and it's time to answer to your question. And so, Angela, can you help us?
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for doing the demonstration as well. I think that helps out a lot. There are a few questions that I do see here that you probably covered a little bit of it, but I'm going to go ahead and ask anyways. Are you able to power Cambium's and Medusa 3 GHz onto you?
Okay, thank you for this question, Angela. We have expected this question because we were studying the market. This is a very challenging device for us. I think everybody know this is one of the most powerful devices on the market because this device the power consumption of this device is around 150 and 40 watts. It's a lot of power, but yes, absolutely yes, we can power CN Medusa 3 GHz, of course.
Awesome, thank you. I hope that helped cover that question. Let me see here. Can you define the main differences between PoE switches and the GigaSync?
Okay. Yes. The main difference for me I think are the protections above all. As we mentioned, we have a lot of protections. This is the device conceived as a power device, so we can provide this protection in each port. We have isolation between LAN and PoE. We have short circuit protection, and we have double phase protections against over voltages. We don't know PoE switches that have short circuit protection, for example, of this kind of protection that I have mentioned. Another difference can be the power that they can reach. Again, we can reach 150 watts per port. And And as we know, the switches can reach up to, I don't know, 90 maybe. That is the PoE standard, the last PoE standard. And the switches are not be able to provide power by bipolar terminals. That could be another difference. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. The next question I have here, if there is problems with synchronization, who can the customer contact to get support?
To get the support if any customer has a problem is very easy. I mean, we have our in our website, and also later we're gonna show to you the email addresses, the support at 9.it, and we are going to support any case. We are always ready to give instruction and help any customer in case of problem or also doubts.
Great, thank you. Let's see here. Does GigaKey make a voltage conversion? For example, if I supplied the cartridge by 48 voltage, can it convert to a 24 voltage?
No voltage conversion is made. The voltage that you connect on to the cartridge on the back part of GigaSync will be the voltage present on the 4 ports on the front part. Okay. The GigaKey gives us the possibility to simplify the selection of the pin in every port, but doesn't make voltage conversion.
Yeah, correct.
Awesome, thank you. I'm not seeing any other further questions here in the Q&A section box. And it looks like we have a good 5 more minutes. So if there is anybody that does have any questions, please feel free to type that in right now. As a reminder that this webinar has been recorded, and we will definitely share it with everyone afterwards and post it on our Streakwave YouTube channel as well as our website. I want to just give a big thank you to Luigi and Lissandra for taking the time out of your day today to conclude this presentation and demonstrate about 9-dots GigaSync.
Thank you very much, Angela, for your time, your support, and everything, actually. To you, to Joshua, to the marketing team from both sides that always are very helpful. As I said here in the last slide, we have our website and all the emails addresses that can be useful. As I said, the support at 9.it for any question or doubt of our product. The sales mails for a question about orders, quotation, and so on. That's it. I really want to say thanks to you, all the Streakwave family, and all the people that are participating today, and I really appreciate this. Thank you very much.